Wonderful. Thanks for asking. How are you? I should be asking you.
I feel great.
Okay, good.
It's so nice to catch up with you.
No, yeah, we've just been like yapping for the last hour.
Have a little girly catch up.
No, it's the best.
It is the best.
I'm so happy that you're here today because I feel like the field that you are in is exactly what everyone is looking for, especially me. Like selfishly, I asked you on because I just want to pick your brain for a while. But what you are all about is what I see everywhere right now. And you and I were kind of chatting about this a little bit earlier, but we hear it from so many people, but you really are an expert in this field. And I want to hear it from you.
Oh, expert in this field.
You know, you are an expert in this field. So why don't you explain to us a little bit about what it is that you do, and then we'll get into like your story, what symptoms you had, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. So my title is a mouthful. It's a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, and I'm also an integrative health coach. But basically what that means is that I run lab tests for people to understand where there's dysfunction within their body. So for example, like you would come to me if you're having struggles with bloating, if you have chronic fatigue, if you have acne, if you have no energy, if you feel like you can't lose weight, all those different things. I'm able to run functional tests to actually see what those markers are going on inside your body, what's actually functioning inside you, and then be able to understand where that is to then help coach that up and get you to like a place where you actually feel amazing. I feel like the issue now with some of the healthcare system and just how we are in general is that people don't understand that it's not normal to have symptoms. And I think all of us just live in this place of like, oh, I'll deal with it. Like I wake up exhausted. It's fine. Like that's just like life. That's what people deal with. And that's not what we should be dealing with. So my main focus is to really figure out where there's that dysfunction, where you're not at optimal health, and then figure out how to get you there. So really focusing more on like the preventative versus then, you know, you have the disease and now we have to like worry about how to fix it. We're really trying to figure out where it's happening before so it doesn't get to that point.
And I feel like you said it perfectly of like the exhaustion example. To me, it just feels like death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, oh, I feel tired, or I like the tired one is a really big one for me because
for so many people.
Yeah. And that's wild to me of just like constantly feeling tired, exhausted. Like 2 p.m. hits and I'm exhausted.
That I feel like is the key. And like so many clients I talk to, they're like, by 2 p.m. I'm dead.
Yeah.
Like by 2 p.m. I'm like a shell. I'm
Yeah.
like that. And I like, that's how I dealt with it for so long. Like I was literally in like so many people I talk to, especially girls, you know, post college, which is kind of what I focus on. They run off of at least like a Celsius a day plus like a venti espresso or, you know, 2 cups of caffeine or whatever it is, because that's also like the hustle culture. It's like what you feel like you have to do, and you have to be like on top of your shit to get through the day. But it's also so unhealthy and like not normal. Like as humans, we're not designed to be just chugging like a pot of coffee a day.
Yeah, the Celsiuses are wild
I know.
to me. I stopped drinking them.
Oh, I was a freak. Like I literally like my coffee routine in the morning at like my peak awful energy. I would have what's it called? Like a venti? Is that the biggest one? I'm like, don't even go to Starbucks.
Wait, was it a Trenta?
Is that the biggest one?
The biggest. It's
okay,
like
I got the biggest
crazy.
one.
Okay.
It's like 4 shots of espresso.
Okay.
I got that, the brown sugar shaken espresso with 4 shots. That would be like morning. Then by the time like lunch hit, I would have another like regular coffee. And then by 2 o'clock, I would have a Celsius. And if I was going out that night, I would pregame with a Celsius and tequila.
That's crazy.
Like insane. But I was like, no, I need it.
Yeah.
I need to get through the day.
Yeah.
Like actually insane.
A Celsius is literal rocket fuel.
No, it's scary.
Like,
and you like feel the heart palpitations.
You know,
but
the
you're
heart.
Like, no, it's fine. You're
no,
like,
seriously. And I'm like, oh, that's just part
like,
of the
no, I'm
zest.
just awake.
Yeah.
You're like, no, I'm just ready to go.
So what other symptoms did you feel that all kind of at one point you were like, okay, maybe I don't like how I'm feeling and I shouldn't feel good?
Yeah, I feel like the chronic fatigue, and I feel like that's just like a fancier word, but just like always fucking tired. Like always tired. I would sleep like 12 hours and wake up and be tired, which I was like, oh, that's maybe just normal. I was like sleepy. But when that's consistently compiling and I'm always tired, and no matter how many hours of sleep I get, I wake up and I'm exhausted and I like can't go to bed, or I'm like, you know, tired at 2 o'clock. Like that was constant. Weight gain was huge for me. Like I was always, I mean, as like a woman, I feel like you always have different periods of when you struggle with your weight. Like who doesn't? But I was like doing all of the workouts. I was eating clean of what I thought was clean. I was working out all the time, like sometimes twice a day, like every day, and was gaining more weight. And I'm like, okay, at some point, like I understand things ebb and flow, but nothing's flowing. I'm like, it's only ebbing and I'm only gaining weight.
What kinds of workouts?
So I kind of went through the gambit. So I did all of it. So I was like, okay, you know, I'm going to try like just yoga, and I'm going to do yoga every day. And then I was like, okay, I don't feel like I'm getting like the sweat or the pump or whatever it was. So then I was doing like HIIT workouts and doing HIIT workouts all the time. And then I would try, cycling classes, or I would try then like different Pilates, but I would do them like all way too much, like for me, that I learned later. But I was doing so much because I was like, okay, like you hear like calories in, calories out. You're like,
Right.
okay, well, I'm burning calories, right? Like I'm working out, I must be burning these calories. So I have to be getting skinnier. And it was not the case. Like I was gaining more weight. My face was puffier. That was another problem. I could just gradually see my face becoming more and more round. I had really bad TMJ, which is basically just like jaw pain, like jaw clenching, which I find like that's another one that so many women, I mean, I men and women, but so many women clench their jaw, and it's like just like a normal thing. Like I literally went to the doctors at one point and they told me it was an ENT, so ear, nose, and throat specialist. And he just said, oh, no, you just have stress college girl syndrome.
Stressed college girl syndrome?
I was like, wait, is that a diagnosis? Like, what do I take for that? Like, insane. So
wait, that's insane.
Yeah. So jaw pains, finally, I was like, okay, like this is something that I feel like that, on top of not being able to lose weight, on top of having irregular periods or really, really painful periods, like crippling over, crying myself like all day. Like I would have to take off work sometimes because I would just be in so much pain that I like couldn't function, or just like really heavy flows that were just awful, like dreading my period basically. I mean, that's just like the sprinkle on top of the cake of just some of the issues. My bones would hurt, like muscle soreness. Like I would constantly be sore. Like I would do a workout, wouldn't do a workout, my body was sore. So just like weird things like that just kept on happening. That I just got to a point where I was like, okay, like something is not right. And I went to a zillion doctors. Like when I tell you a zillion, like rheumatologist, ENT, chiropractor, physical therapist, regular doctor, OBGYN. Like I was doing all of the things to try to figure this out. And everyone was pretty much telling me like, your numbers look fine. Like you're good. Like I don't really know what's wrong with you. And getting diagnoses that are basically just people saying, we don't know what's wrong with you. Like fibromyalgia I got diagnosed with, which is technically like a term that isn't like really diagnosable. It's just like, you don't have all of these things, so it's this.
Huh.
Yeah. So after all that, then I was like, okay, like my mom was always more into like the holistic sense. Like she was never like telling me to pop an Advil. It was always like some other like thing that she would do, or she never really loved going to doctors. So, but she clearly went with me because it was at that point. But we tried a functional doctor because one of our family friends mentioned it. And that's where like everything completely changed. She basically ran all of those labs to actually understand like what was going on. And it was like, I feel like someone just like lifted the sheet off my eyes, and I was like, oh my God. Like,
really?
Yeah, it was crazy. It was just like insane to understand. It's like someone like, I feel like just like pulls back the layer and be just like, here's everything that's going on. Like, here's the numbers. Here's what's happening here. Here's what's happening here. And it was the first time I feel like you get like an in-depth look at your body, which was really, really cool for me and like so insightful, where I felt so connected, and I was able to I lost 30 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, which was crazy because it was 30 pounds of inflammation. It was 30 pounds of just like stress and of all those things. And I was down like 3 pant sizes.
Whoa.
And it wasn't like, and literally I feel like people think I'm like lying or something when I say it, but literally my doctor's orders was don't work out. She was like, do not work out. Like, don't do anything. And I was like so confused by a lot of it. And it just made me so fascinated to be like, okay, why the hell is she telling me not to work out?
Right.
Like, why is all this stuff happening? So then I went to do the schooling and do the programs to then be able to like learn it all for myself. And it's just so insane how intuitive our bodies are and how much we don't necessarily always trust it or like fuel it with the right things. So I feel like learning that, I was able to really just like completely change how I viewed health in general. That was such a ramble.
No, it was. That's what a podcast is for, girl.
No, I'm like, oh God.
It was perfect. So what did you do? Like, I need to know everything.
Yeah. So basically, like, I think that's what the problem is sometimes is we do the generalized thing that we think we see on TikTok or whatever it is. But like, this was specific to my body. So I did different testing, found out I had a pretty, like, I don't have celiac disease, but I have a pretty bad intolerance to gluten, which like most Americans do. And especially the way it's processed and how it, processes in our body, it was an issue, and it caused a lot of inflammation for me, a lot of stomach problems. I had leaky gut, which is like, it's a hot button term now, but basically it's like your intestine or your, it's like gut permeability. So you basically have this like shield or this like wall that's built up around you. And when you put bad stuff in, it kind of takes cracks at that wall.
Yeah.
And then all the bad things get through that crack. So then it causes all the inflammation. It causes the bloating. It causes
Were you bloated
the skin
all
problems.
the time?
Oh my God. All the time. I had to buy a pant size bigger than what I actually was. So like I would like go into like a meal and like be like skinny, have my pants be like loose and like not fitting and not be cute.
Yeah.
And by the end of the meal, I would be like, the button would be like digging into my pants.
Because that's how I'm like right now. Like anytime I go out to eat, I swear to God, like at the end of the meal, my stomach could touch the wall.
Yeah.
Like I just feel like I need to be rolled out of everywhere when I go out to eat or something.
Yeah.
Not so much at home, but like whenever I eat out at a restaurant.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's could be a lot of reasons for that, but like you don't know what they're putting in that. Like
True.
a lot of it's like, I mean, I feel like seed oils is a big thing, but like it
Yeah.
is like they're
Yeah.
very inflammatory. And like if you already have some issues with that, or like, your cup's kind of running over with how many, seed oils you have and how much inflammation your body can take, like it can sometimes manifest in that way too. So I mean, I feel like bloating is one of those things that like so many people are just like, oh, I'm bloated.
It's part of life.
Yeah. This meal just made me bloated. But it's like, no, you can be not bloated.
No, I remember someone asked me, like, I was doing an Instagram Ask Me Anything, and one of the questions was like, how do you deal with bloating? And my response was like, it's just part of it.
Yeah, you're like, I don't.
It just sort of happens. And then a few days later, this one girl who I follow who's very fit, like never is bloated, someone asked her the same question, like, what do you do when you're bloated? And she goes, you shouldn't be bloated. Like, it's not normal.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I don't know if I agree with that. But now I don't know.
Yeah, no, it is. It's like, it's insane. Like because I dealt with being bloated for years and years and years, like truly like chronically bloated, like consistently. And after doing like different protocols and getting my supplements in order and getting my stomach in order, like I had a bunch of dysbiosis in my gut that was causing a lot of the bloating.
Dysbiosis? What's that?
So basically just like things are going awry.
Got
like,
it.
There's issues.
Good word.
Yes. So it was just, there are just like issues, imbalances,
Okay.
different problems there. So being able to like fix that and heal that for myself, like it's crazy. Honestly, it's like weirder to me to not be bloated than to be bloated. Like I'm so used to being bloated that now it's like so fun that I'm like,
Wait, so you're just not bloated?
yeah, no, like,
Wait,
which is
you
crazy.
need to tell me everything.
No, it's crazy. No, it's
I
literally
need to
crazy.
know everything.
No, and like I check myself, like body check, and I'm like, oh, I'm not bloated today. Like I'm like shocked by myself because I was always so used to being like, looking pregnant.
Yes.
And like, and it's insane. I feel like so many people, like you said, it's like normal, and it's like ingrained in your brain because so many people deal with that it must be normal, but no symptom is normal. And that is like
I have to remember that.
No, seriously. And I feel like that's like needs to be like what people, take in more. Like no symptom is normal. Like being tired all the time is not normal.
Yeah.
Like acne is not necessarily normal. Being bloated all the time is not normal. Like all of these things are not normal. It doesn't mean that they're like, oh my God, you're screwed and there's something massively wrong. But that means that there's room for improvement.
That's what I mean by like the death by 1,000 cuts. Like when you look at one thing like, oh, bloat, not the worst.
Yeah.
Not the best. I can live with it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm tired. Not the worst. Not the best. I can live with it. But then like accumulatively, right?
Yeah.
It just becomes overwhelming where you're like, oh, I feel like shit all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like, and that's a part of like why I love doing this is because it's figuring out those things before it gets to like, not even just to that point, but until it gets to like an even further snowball effect where it's like, okay, you actually have like a true issue here that's going to be harder for us to get back in order versus finding it out now, doing minimal changes, doing, lifestyle changes, stress management, food changes, dietary changes that then get you to a better point instead of like going down the rabbit hole and getting like way lost in it because you're just thinking you're being like tough or being like, oh no, it's normal. Like I'm being like a baby. Like I can't like, you know what I mean?
1,000%. Okay. So I don't want to get off topic. So
sorry.
Your doctor, no, it's me. Your doctor said to you, like, you have a little gluten intolerance.
Yes.
Leaky gut.
Yes. So those were a couple. I checked my cortisol levels, which like cortisol is a hot word.
Yes,
a hot word, which I love. I mean, I'm glad that it's getting talked about. I think it's like
it's important.
It's important, but I think people are going a little crazy. Like sometimes people can go crazy with it.
Got it.
But I think it's good, and I think it's really, really good to understand where your cortisol is. So cortisol is your main stress hormone. So it's great because it helps our body adapt to different things, handle stressors, handle different, things that are happening in our lives. But a lot of times, especially with the way the world is, our stressors are so high. So our cortisol is constantly at that high level, and mine was crazy high. So I was basically just dealing in this state of stress constantly. So any workouts that I was doing, or any like these HIIT workouts that I'm like, oh, I'm slaying this, like I'm gonna be so skinny, like this is great.
Yeah.
I was just like drilling my body and just doing more damage. My body was then holding on to fat because it was thinking I was like protecting me. It's like a survival mechanism.
Yeah.
So, because cortisol is basically, like, I think of cortisol as you think of like ancestors. Like I know you probably have seen like how people talk about like my body can't tell if I'm like running a meeting.
I love that trend.
No, and they're great, and like it is true, but like your body can't tell. So for like your body really doesn't, like historically doesn't understand that your stress could be from you know running a meeting versus you getting chased by a bear. So it thinks you're getting chased by a bear and you have to, you know, use up more fuel. So then it'll make you crave things like sugar or like fatty foods that'll give you energy faster. So then you have a high cortisol, you're craving these sugary fatty foods.
So much sense.
Yeah. So then you're eating these, you know, foods that necessarily aren't great for you. Your body's thinking it's like helping you by getting fast energy. Meanwhile, your body already has enough of that glucose, so it's laying around in your bloodstream. You then could be, you know, eventually getting insulin resistance and then holding on to that fat. Because your body's then holding on to that fat specifically around your abdomen, like you hear of like cortisol belly.
Yes, Liv, you're changing my life right now.
Yeah. So it's like it's holding on that fat specifically around your abdomen and that belly area because it's protecting your organs. So like think about like if your body's thinking that it doesn't have, you know, it's going to take a while to have to go get food or like to go hunt and gather.
Yeah.
It's putting that fat around your organs to protect them. To be able to like then go get your next food source, or, you know, if you don't have food or something for a while.
So how do I fix that? Because I'm not being chased by a bear.
Yeah. So,
I have food. Like I didn't want that to go away.
I know. You're like, I just am like public speaking. Why is this doing this? That's why it's really important to get it checked. And that's not just me like trying to like plug, but because some people also have really low cortisol, which like you don't have enough energy.
What are those symptoms like?
So a lot of it's like low energy, like no stamina. It could be like different things like mood disorders. There's like it's like a long list for honestly for both areas that it can manifest as, but it's important. I mean, there is some people, like I've never seen a test result yet where it's been like beautiful cortisol like all throughout.
Wow.
Like it's usually, you know, one or the other. It's also different ways of like how your body clears the cortisol, because it has to clear out of your body. Like that's a whole thing. So basically what you can do is get it tested so you understand where you're at with it. You can also tell where it's at throughout your day. So for example, you know, you want to have higher cortisol in the morning because that's what gets you out of bed in the morning. So like some people, if they have super low cortisol, it makes sense when they're telling me like, Liv, I cannot get out of bed in the morning. Like I'm exhausted. So we know that that's something that we need to focus on. That then we look at different, you know, bedtime habits, because that also affects your morning cortisol. So yeah, it's so I mean, I find it fascinating.
I do too.
But then like
so do the girls. So they're all listening.
The girls better like this. Yeah, but then, you know, we see, you know, do you have really high nighttime cortisol? Like, do you have troubles falling asleep? We can work on different like circadian rhythm things to like regulate that and help your body out with getting back into like a good pattern and a good routine. But it's really important to know that. So for example, if you have crazy high cortisol, you shouldn't be hitting HIIT workouts. You know, you should be walking, you should be doing yoga, but not like the intense like core power yoga.
Right.
But like you should be doing like restorative yoga. You should be doing, you know, stretching or like different things like that versus, you know, someone who has great cortisol levels. Yeah, go do your thing. Like, you know, go do whatever. But if you have high cortisol levels, you're just going to be causing your body more damage, more stress, and ultimately gaining more weight by doing these like high intensity workouts.
I feel like for someone that has high cortisol, loves their HIIT workouts, hearing that is like the scariest thing, because I love HIIT workouts. Like it scratches such an itch in my brain where I'm just like, oh my God, this feels incredible. Like I get such a rush from it, like such an endorphin high. But I do remember like when I switched to a lot of like slower paced Pilates, yoga, like my body changed the most.
Yeah.
And it's hard to hear for the girls that love their HIIT workouts and that really crave that.
No, I know, but I think that's because I have some clients who are the same way, that they're like, no, I can't. And I'm like, no, you can, and you will.
Yeah. And you'll thank me.
Yeah. And like we've worked on like, you know, ways to like tone it back. Like I'm never like cold turkey, like stop it right now.
And I feel like the mental switch is a huge part of it.
Absolutely. And that's like such a massive factor to health as well. But I think it's like such a cool opportunity. That's kind of how I like to frame it, is it's such a cool opportunity to see health in a different way and to like, grow your mindset in a different way. So for example, like you might have more of a dependence on, or like not an obsession with working out in a certain way that you do, but by taking a step back, it kind of forces you to like figure out what other ways to make health work for you, figure out other ways to make your body feel good. And it kind of gives your body that love that it needs at the time, and that's not to say that your body won't, love and crave and benefit from those HIIT workouts, in a couple months once you get to a better point. But right now your body's like screaming at you being like, please, like chill. I just need to I need you to walk. I need you to like lay down or like not do anything.
Yeah.
So I think it's like a cool like mindset shift too, that, people can like use that time to kind of figure that out for themselves.
So whenever I hear the advice of lower your cortisol, stress less, stuff like that, how do you stress less?
Yeah.
Because we live in a world where it's demanding, right?
Yeah.
Like we have phones where anyone in the world can access us at any time and they expect a response. That's crazy and not normal.
Yeah.
Jobs are very demanding.
Absolutely.
A lot of stuff is out of our control. We have factors working against us, like what's put in our food and, coffees and seed oils. Like there's so much that internally stresses our body. So like, how do we actually stress less?
Yeah. And that's a great question. I think it's also like bio-individual. So I think it definitely looks different for different people, like depending on what your day-to-day looks like. And that's why it's nice to work one-on-one with people, because what I would tell you is different than what I would tell someone working on Wall Street, like, having to work till late hours at night or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing you can do is try to do things to get your body into the parasympathetic system. So basically that's your rest and digest. So your body needs that period to like help your body digest, help your body calm down and get into more of that like calm state where your cortisol is not spiked. So things like that is like meditation, deep breathing, like tapping. Like the biggest thing I like to do is meditations. Like that's huge for me because they can be 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And they've guided meditations, which I think are amazing. So
do you use any apps?
I use Spotify and I use YouTube actually.
Okay.
Yeah. So Joe Dispenza has great guided meditations, but there's also some really good ones that are just like, I just pop on random ones on YouTube that I like, but
you do it every day?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Morning, night?
Every morning I do it.
Okay.
Yeah. And then if I find myself like having like a crazier work day or like feeling it like kind of come on, I'll take like literally 5 minutes and like go do it really quick. Like not like really quick, but it is really quick.
Yeah.
So like that's even one of the things. I'm talking with a teacher who she has really high stress and she works at a really stressful school and has a lot of, anxiety and stress around it. There's just a lot going on. She's 22 kids that are, pulling at her all day basically.
Yeah.
So we talked about doing, meditation in the morning. And then she has a prep period and I think she gets like 30 minutes and we're now implementing like 5 minutes of just a guided meditation, like sit with yourself. She doesn't have kids around her, but that's your like way to center yourself, to like reset yourself for the day and then go into the day with like more of that clear, get your body like more into that calm state. And that's not to say her cortisol is going to be like so low tomorrow, but it's more of like getting in that habit of kind of taking care of your body and getting it to a spot where you can like slow your mind down, slow your breathing down, kind of like get back to center.
Yeah. So what else did you do
for
when your doctor?
I'm
going way back.
Oh yeah, I'm like, where are we? Food.
Okay.
Is a big,
a
big
to me
thing.
about it.
Yeah. So gluten-free was great.
Okay.
Dairy-free I also went, which I know some people have a hard time with like letting go of both of those and they think it's like so crazy, but I mean, it's really not. Like it's really not as crazy as you think it is. And once you feel the impacts of how your body feels, like you won't have those cravings anymore.
Are you still dairy-free, gluten-free?
Yeah, I am.
Do you eat eggs?
I don't.
Okay. Is that personal choice or because of the dairy? Sometimes I get confused.
No, dairy's usually okay. So if you like look on the list of like the most inflammatory foods for you and like what people have adverse reactions to, it's gluten, dairy, and then there's, like corn, eggs, grains, like, but eggs are always in that.
Yeah.
And when I did my food sensitivity test, eggs came up for me.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that was just like a no-no for me, which is fine. Like, I'll have them every once in a while if it's like a coating for something like that with like gluten-free breadcrumbs or something. Like every once in a while it's fine. I've really worked on my gut lining, so that shit's sealed. So like we're good for like a little bit of an egg every once in a while.
Okay, I need to put a pin in that and go back to how you did. I guess through food, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Food's a big piece of it. Yeah. So with that, gluten-free, dairy-free. Dairy was actually so interesting. So I was having like a lot of chronic sinus infections, a lot of congestion all the time. Like, it sounds like so gross. I feel like I'd always have to like spit. Like,
it's so interesting.
like I was so congested in the mornings, and like it was just so, I just didn't understand it. But the second I cut out dairy, like I'm not even kidding, like it went away completely.
Really?
And like I can tell if I eat something that has dairy in it, like immediately I'll be congested. Immediately I can feel like the mucus to everything. So that's when I cut out. I basically, have you ever heard of the Whole30 diet?
Yeah.
So I basically was doing Whole30
Okay.
for a while. It's like similar to what my diet is right now. Like I give myself grace with it, but I'm like pretty much like on that type of diet, more like an anti-inflammatory. So, but that was like really it. Like I was on a Whole30 diet, and that was only, I think it was only like about 4 months. And I think it was in like the 4 months that I lost like the 30 pounds from just not working out, eating clean, and stress management.
When you weren't working out, were you going on walks, or were you really just like chilling?
No, it's going on walks. Like you still
Okay.
should be moving your body, and
Okay.
like going on walks is so good for you. So like whenever my clients have like high cortisol, I still tell them like try to aim for 10,000 steps a day. Doesn't have to be speed walking.
How do you
steps.
hit 10,000 steps a day?
Oh, really? Do you have a hard time with it?
The hardest. Like I really try my best, and like maybe one day a week I hit it, but I really try hard.
Yeah. So what do you do?
So like I'll wake up and I'll
Okay.
go for a walk, normally like an hour.
Okay.
I guess that's really
Right.
it.
I was like, okay, and no, so that's great. So like going on a walk is perfect. Like morning walks, get the sunlight in your face. That's like a massive stress, and I love that. I think like things like a walking pad.
Okay.
So if people like work from home, or if you know, even if you go into an office, you can ask your office if they can get one, or like you can bring one in. Like that's huge. Like you would be so shocked of how much steps you can get in, and like work you can do by like just like, even if you're walking at a 2 speed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're getting your work done. You can like do a bunch of stuff and get a ton of steps in.
Yeah.
So that's definitely one that's great. Honestly, like doing like housework is a really great way to get your steps in. So like,
such a good point.
yeah, it really like it's a really great way to burn calories in like a non like stressful on your body way. But like doing the dishes and like walk around the house, like cleaning things, you know, like doing laundry, going back and forth, things like that are just a good way. Like going on a walk at night. Like I kind of like to like end cap my day with like a walk in the morning, a walk at night. Because also just walking after meals is a really great way to help not get those blood sugar spikes. So that's always just like a great way, and helps your body like digest and process the food.
Yeah.
So those are always good. And then any sort of, you know, I just think any time that you can get up throughout the day, like if you work at a desk job, which most people do, like you're sitting for so many hours of the day.
Yeah.
So if your lunch break, if you can get out and walk a little bit, or, you know, after work, before work, whatever it might be, or like during your days, if you can take a meeting, like have someone walk with you. Like at my corporate job, I would have people be like, okay, let's go talk about this over a walk. And like we would just go outside and go on a walk instead of doing that. I mean, it's harder when the weather's not great.
Yeah.
But like when it's nice out, like those are just like small things you can do. But I mean, it's hard when you like are inside most of the day. But a walking pad, I feel like that invention, whoever thought about that, is genius though.
Yeah.
Because you can still get so much stuff done while you're doing it.
Yeah. No, I love that. So talk to me about your morning routine.
Yeah.
I feel like you have a really good one.
I do. I like my morning routine. I switch it up too. Like I like to have it like mixed every once in a while. But normally, so I get up around like 6:30. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to think of like the exact order that I do stuff. Okay, I get up around 6:30. I put my oil in. I do oil pulling every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any specific brand, or is it just regular coconut oil?
You can just do regular coconut oil. I've been doing the Guru Nanda one.
Yeah, I have
Do
that.
you?
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. I like it because it's minty.
It's minty.
Yeah. So like that part I like.
Do you brush your teeth before or after?
After.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. So you spit it out into like a trash can.
trash
okay,
can.
I was gonna say don't.
Yeah, I don't do it down the
okay, I was
drain.
like worried that you're like my sink. I was like no.
Because it can, for anyone that doesn't know, it could clog.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's like you think about it, it's like liquidy when you have it,
Yeah,
but then when
but
you spit
it
it out, it gets
solidifies.
hard. It's like yeah.
Yeah.
So don't do that. But yeah, so I do my oil pulling. I go in like my more recent one has been I make some sort of like protein smoothie, or I usually do protein matcha. So I try to get at least like 30 grams of protein in the morning.
So like what time is I want to hear this recipe for the protein matcha.
Yes, I love it. So 6:30 I'm like
that?
oil pulling. I go right in, so it's like 6:35.
Oh, you go right away.
Yeah.
Do you find that like, are you hungry?
No.
Okay, but you still do it.
I still do it, so it depends. Like I have more like hormonal issues sometimes. So I've been working on really like steadying my hormones and getting those to a good level, which getting protein in within like the first like 30 minutes to an hour when you wake up is a really great way to do that. So it also depends. And that's why it's also like really important to listen to your own body.
Yeah.
So like some days, like, I mean, there's so many doctors and so much more studies out there about fasting and how great it can be for you.
Yeah.
So for some people, like fasting is fantastic. And like, that's what I would suggest. Like if that's what feels right for you and you're not hungry until, 11 or whatever, like that's great. I also think I'm in a really big state of getting my protein in.
Yeah.
So for me, if I'm fasting until like, say like 10 or 11 or whatever it might be, I find that I don't get as many grams of protein in throughout the day.
Right.
Cause I'm trying to get, I try to aim for 1 pound or 1 ounce of protein for every pound of my ideal body weight.
1
so
gram.
That's 1 gram. Oh my
Yeah.
God, did I say 1 pound?
Ounce.
Oh no, 1 gram. Sorry. That's like nothing. Yeah. So 1 gram. So that's a lot of protein.
Yeah.
And sometimes that can be hard. So I like to like make sure I'm starting my mornings with that. So I'll make that, finish brushing my teeth. I'll then go we have a red light in our office.
But I love that.
Yeah. So I sit there. So I have Hashimoto's and hypothyroidism, which are autoimmune diseases that affect your thyroid. So I also tend to be more highly inflamed. So it really helps things like inflammation and helps with your thyroid. So I sit in front of that and I meditate for 10 minutes. So I'll do a guided meditation.
Is it like one of those panels?
It's a panel.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have the panel that sits in front of me. I sit on my little meditation mat, my little like cushion, and I meditate, do a guided meditation for 10 minutes. And then I do my back. So like I switch from like facing it to then I switch away from it. And then I journal for 10 minutes. So I'll let that hit. I'll drink my drink and I'll do my journaling for the day. I think it's like so important to start your day with journaling and with gratitude. I mean, there's so many studies out there too about how it helps rewire your brain and help you like look for the positives and the gratefulness and all that throughout the rest of the day. So that's something I always do. And then I do my acupressure mat, which I like love. I feel like that's one of those like hurt so good. Yeah. And you can get them like anywhere. Like they have them at like Walmart, like Target.
Really?
Yeah. So those are great. And I feel like that just feels amazing. And I don't know why.
You lay on it?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I lay on it, then I'll put my feet on it too. Like they all have like really great benefits and it feels really good, honestly. It's like one of those like hurt so good type of thing.
Yeah.
So I do that and then I'll do some sort of workout. I usually like opt for strength training, but right now with my autoimmune disease, I was guided to do like some sort of strength workout, but then give it at least like 3 days in between of doing another one. Mm-hmm. So I'll do that, or I'll do my cardio that I do is the rebounder. So a little trampoline.
Shut up.
Yeah. But it's amazing.
It's so fun.
No, it's honestly so fun. And I'm not a cardio person at all. Like I cannot run. It just does not correlate with me. Even walking time, like I get shin splints. Like it's a mess. Cardio's just not for me. But I love the rebounder. It's really great for lymphatic drainage. And it's like you burn a lot of calories. Yeah. And it feels really good. Like you feel like you're like
so fun.
Yeah, it's great. It's so fun. Like I literally put my little TV show up there and I'm just like bouncing around like in the morning. It's great.
Love that. What do you watch?
Oh God, what don't I watch? I'm like a big Bravo person.
Me.
Yeah.
Too.
I was literally watching like the Real Housewives
I was
like
watching
reunion.
Salt Lake reunion right before you came over.
Okay, I was watching the Real Housewives reunion like as I'm like jumping. I'm just like listening to them fight. But yeah, so then I'll do that and then I'll just get ready for the rest of the day. I do mix that up with like different times. Like I'll do the red light therapy and then I'll like go outside on a walk to get like sunlight in my face. Like that's a big one for me. Yeah. When it's warm outside, I'll try to get some sort of, I know I should be doing it more in the cold, but I do like cold exposure. So like an ice.
Good for you.
Yeah, but honestly, it's not, it really isn't for everyone. And like some women who run cold, like shouldn't do it. Like it's not as beneficial for them. But usually in the summer, I like to either get in the ocean or do a cold plunge and things like that. So I think that's like one of the biggest like things for people though. Like,
really?
Yeah. No, just like morning routines in general.
Oh, thank God. I thought you were going to say cold.
No.
I was like, darn. Because I hate the cold.
I know. No, and it's like, and if you don't like, and if you like you find yourself like shivering, and like women especially like run colder, it's like it's not as beneficial. So like don't let like the like guys who are like you have to cold plunge.
No, but
like,
I do see like the benefits of it, and the gym that my boyfriend goes to, they have a cold plunge there. So one day he did it, and he was wired for the rest of the day.
It is like really nice.
It's like amazing what it can do.
And if you're hungover, oh my God, I swear to God, it like
fixes everything.
Yeah.
No way. Yeah. Do you drink? That brings me to another point.
So like yes and no.
Okay.
I I don't like it. Like, I honestly, oh my God, I feel like people might not be interested in this and be like, you're like crazy. But we were like traveling around. I was telling you a little bit about this before, but we were traveling around to different Airbnbs last year. I mean, my husband. Yeah, me and my husband. Gross. I'm like, I'm just too baby. I shouldn't be married.
You're so funny.
Too little to be married. But we were traveling around and I ended up working at this like yoga shala and spa.
Cool.
And I was working there. So I was like, oh, this is so fun. Like, it was a family friend who owns it. It's like this gorgeous, amazing place in Delray. And there was classes to become Reiki certified. And have you heard of Reiki?
Of course.
Okay, so it was to become Reiki certified. And I was like, you know what?
Period.
Yes. I'm like, I'm going to do that. So I did. And you get what's called like attuned. So it's like supposed to bring you to a higher vibrational frequency.
Okay.
And she was like, yeah, you might feel some differences after, like, it's natural, like things you might have liked before, you might not like anymore. Like you might be feeling different. And I was like, okay, like whatever. Like, I feel like I try to be like real. I'm like in the middle. Like, I'm definitely woo-woo for sure. Like, and I love all that stuff, but I'm also like slightly skeptical and like feel like a realist in a lot of those ways. But I have a very open mind with it all. So I was like, okay, lady. Like, whatever. And after that, like, I'm telling you, like, it was like everything switched.
Really?
Like, alcohol was like not a concern at all to me. Like, I felt no draw towards it. I was like, I don't ever think I want to do this again. Like, I don't like it. I don't like, it's not like I don't like the taste or anything anymore, but I just like, I feel like before it kind of didn't have a lock on me. Like, didn't have a problem by any means. But when Friday came around or like Thursday night, I was like, let's drink, like glass of wine, like tequila soda, like whatever it was. And it just like completely went away from me. Like, wow. It was so weird. It was like freaky. Like, it was kind of freaky.
Wild.
Yeah.
When was this?
That was last year. So last like October. So I pretty much didn't like, anytime I do drink, it kind of almost feels like forced a little bit.
Yeah.
Like,
and
I'm like
probably also
forcing
counterproductive.
Absolutely. And I feel like honestly knowing more, it's like ignorance is bliss. I feel like the more you know about stuff, it's like
1,000%.
it's like it's harder to like take that sip or do the thing. So I'm like finding my balance of I'm trying to like, now if I'm drinking, I'm like drinking for me.
Yeah.
And not to feel more social and to not feel more comfortable. Like, I'm really trying to lean into feeling uncomfortable and like feeling like if I go into a social situation and I feel awkward, not just like relying on being like, okay, I'll have a drink and it'll like
and
calm
then it'll
this.
go away. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I think it's like a cool like growth thing.
That's
to be like
really cool.
It's like fun, honestly. Like, and it's awkward sometimes, and I'm awkward and like weird, and like I can tell I'm uncomfortable, but it's kind of fun to be like, no, like I can find my personality to like make this work and to like be normal and have conversations and be social.
And you're a fun, cool girl.
Oh, stop it.
Do you have a nighttime routine that you think helps with your morning routine? Like, do you do anything at night, like mouth taping? I know it's like a really big thing right now. Like, do you do any of that? Yes. Oh, sorry, I keep fidgeting. My hip, like, no, actually is like
should I fidget too?
No, I just keep fidgeting. My hip is gone. Oh, like, no. I don't even know like where it went. But anyway.
Yeah. So nighttime routines. Again, I think nighttime routines are really important. So I like to eat dinner early. Like, I'm a very early dinner eater. I try to eat like while the sun's still up. But then basically after I'll do like, the skincare, all that good stuff. I'll go into bed. I like to read, which I don't read fiction books. I only read nonfiction.
Really?
Yeah. Cause I really love like to feel like I'm getting educated by something.
Totally.
And feel like I'm gaining something out of it. Not saying you don't out of fiction. But I read more like not like religious spiritual, but like spiritual, like kind of like self-helpy type of books.
Yeah.
Which I really love. Like, there's certain ones that I feel like are good for like before you go to bed. You know what I mean? Like, they leave your brain in like a good spot before you go to sleep.
Totally.
I mouth tape. I'm obsessed with it.
And you think there's a big difference?
Yes.
Like what?
So the biggest thing is like congestion and energy.
Okay. Really?
Yeah.
I hear a lot about the energy.
Yeah.
But I guess I don't understand the correlation.
So I don't know fully, because there's also like there's not like a ton of scientific studies on it.
Okay.
Like, to be honest, right now, like there's not like a lot that are like this, you get energy because of this. You know what I mean? It's not like that. It's also just like, I think like the way like I think you exert more energy when you have to like mouth breathe the whole time, like your mouth's open. Like, I don't know if that's a part of it.
Okay.
I just know that it's changed my energy. Like, I feel like every time I wake up when I don't mouth tape, I'm like drier because you're like your mouth's open all night.
Yeah.
And you're like taking all that in. I feel more congested. Like, I feel like, when you wake, like when it's like cold and you wake up and it's like that. but when I mouth tape, I feel so much better. Like my energy's better. Also, you have a lot more of the blood vessels in your nose. So when you're bringing that oxygen into your nose, you're oxygenating yourself way more than you do in your mouth. So I think that might be able to help it as well. But I've gotten like so many people into mouth taping that were like so petrified of it, that were like, no, like I won't be able to breathe. How am I going to breathe? But like my husband now does it, which he has like a broken nose and he like literally still does it, and like he like loves it.
Yeah.
Like I've gotten like my mother-in-law to do it, where she was like so freaked out by it, like and like loves it. Like it just, have you tried it at all ever?
I have. And
you didn't like it?
I did.
Oh, okay.
I did like it. The only issue that I run into with mouth taping is like if I self tan my face.
Oh, I don't do it when I self tan.
I'll have a ring around my mouth.
I don't do it when I self tan.
So like that's my thing. Like at night I'd like try and like do my beauty sleep stuff. So it's like I'll lather on self tan, like I marinate at night. You know what I mean? And that would just look terrible.
Yeah.
So that I need to figure out. But no, I had mouth tape and then I moved and I guess I just saw it and was like, won't need this, and I threw it away for some reason, so I just haven't bought more. But I do really want it, one, because I just keep hearing everyone say how wonderful it is. But two, I really want like under here to be more defined. Yeah. It's just a big insecurity that I have of myself. And everyone says that it like chisels your jaw a little bit. Yeah. So I think I want to do it for the aesthetic reasons. Yeah. Because my Oura ring tells me I have really good oxygen saturation at night.
I love that.
I love my Oura ring.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you mouth tape.
So I think and I think mouth tape is good, like can be good for your jaw, because there's like different things about mouth breathing and how like we've evolved to now be mouth breathers, which like has shifted how our teeth are and shifted our jaws. I don't like, to be honest, I haven't ever seen like how the influencers like, I'm snatched now because I mouth tape. You know what I mean? Like I've never seen like the jaw be like so chiseled from that. Yeah. So like, I think you can do it for other reasons. I just don't want you to be like, where's it at? You know what I mean? Yeah. So I mouth tape. I do a weighted eye mask because I like no light.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's honestly fantastic.
Do you put it in the freezer?
Sometimes I do. Yeah.
Wow,
if I think about it. I don't always think about it, but yeah, the weighted eye mask is fantastic. And then I use my Hatch in the morning, which has honestly, that's been such a game changer. Yeah. Yeah. Like I feel like I've totally, like I used to be so, and also because my energy levels, but I used to be like not a morning person at all. And like, I'm like, love my nights, wake up like easily in the mornings, like usually before like any sort of sound goes off on the Hatch or anything like that. And it's amazing. Like it just really sets up your day. Like I used to be so non-routine and very just like TikTok before bed until like it's like on my chest and I'm like, drooling. But I think having the routines has been so massive and being able to like feel set for the next day.
What time do you go to bed?
Oh my God, I feel like this is embarrassing. Like 9.
It's perfect.
Okay. I'm like, sometimes I'm in there like 8:30.
And then when do you like end your doom scroll? Or honestly, do you not doom?
I don't even doom scroll anymore.
Wow.
Yeah. I just like, I don't feel like I don't feel like it's like necessary. Peace. I feel like I am, which is actually so crazy. I just feel like a lot of the things that I relied on before, I've like tried to like work on the pinpoints of that, like where that's coming from, to then understand it more. You know what I mean? Like I feel like before I used to be so afraid of being alone with my thoughts at night that I would like always scroll, because I'm like, if I scroll, I'm not paying attention to it and I won't think all my crazy thoughts. But I feel like I've like tried to like put different things in place to understand those more and understand why I'm doing that, and like not get over that, but help, support those, that now I feel like I can just be like, read, put the thing on. Like after I read, I'm not picking up my phone again.
Wow. Do you read on a Kindle or a physical book?
Physical book. Okay. Yeah. I put on my blue light blocker glasses.
Do you unplug your Wi-Fi?
No, I don't yet.
Okay. Yet.
I do. I want to get those little switch things. Yeah. But my husband's also freak about like work stuff, and he like, we've had weird experience in the past with Wi-Fi, and that's like a panic of his. So I feel like he would like lose his mind. So we'll get there. But I do like the red light glasses. Yeah, they're like intense. But those I feel like actually like I get such good sleep when I wear them.
And you got your husband to be on a good morning routine with you too.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, he's like on it.
Oh, Dylan.
Yeah. He wakes up like earlier than me, goes to the gym. He does the red light therapy.
Wow.
He drinks his little protein drink. Yeah, he's like really on it.
Protein matcha. What is the recipe? How do you make it? And also with that, do you drink coffee?
I do not.
Okay.
I do not. And I'm like, people who think it's impossible, it's not. Like I'm telling you, I was literally on like a pot a day, like minimum. And I'm completely off. So I'm only on matcha now. So protein matcha, I always use ceremonial grade. That's like the best quality too.
Okay.
There's like some really good brands too that like test for a lot of like the different like, mold and mycotoxins and all that. But I do that. I usually make my own almond milk.
I was going to ask.
That's a fun little thing for me to do. That's like a Sunday like meal prep thing. It's like,
what's that recipe?
so that's a thing, which is like, it's so crazy that if you like, once you start to, have you been down like the ingredient rabbit? Like, do you look at ingredients and stuff? Okay.
Yes.
Like once you're in it, you're like, holy
shit.
shit.
It's hard to unsee.
What are they doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like basically for anyone who wants to know out there, almond milk is almonds and water. Like that is what almond milk is. That is what it should be. It's maybe like you throw in salt or like, vanilla or whatever. So like when I make my almond milk, it's literally almonds, filtered water. I usually make mine like somewhat sweet. So because I have it in my matchas or sweeter drinks, but I'll do either like vanilla extracts, a little bit of salt, or I'll do some like maple syrup if I'm feeling spicy.
Crazy.
I'm feeling crazy maple syrup. But yeah, that's literally all it is. So like when you go to the stores and when you see like
all
almond beverage,
almond beverage is a crazy term.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What is almond
beverage? No, beverage.
Oh, that's
so scary.
That scares me.
And you know what else is a bad one? Liquid egg product.
All of it. Like, what is that?
What is that?
Why are we saying that?
What is that?
Why are we saying that?
Who approved that?
No, and like I chugged all of those like all throughout college. Like literally, that's almond beverage is my shit. Like, what am I doing?
Almond beverage is crazy.
Now you know that it's like, and that's what I think people don't get to, because they put all those gums and those things in it to make it look like it's milk, like that it's cow's milk. Because like cow's milk's thicker, but like it's almonds and water. Like it shouldn't be thick like that.
How do you make it at home? Do you do it in a blender? Do you use like a cheesecloth?
Yes, I have like a little like,
or do you have that gadget?
I have a gadget, but it's like the Temu version gadget though.
We'll get the Temu version gadget.
But I wouldn't like suggest.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. So, but if you want to do it, if anyone wants to do it like at home or whatever, it's literally just can take a blender, put it all in the blender, and then take a cheesecloth. Because that's what I have to do anyway. I put it in this thing and then have the cheesecloth anyway.
What is the gadget? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Nutter.
Is that what it's called?
NUTR.
Sure.
Okay. I think it's what it's called.
No, we're definitely talking about the same thing where you like put it in and it literally makes milk for you.
Because it filters it. It like does the filtering itself. Like the cheese, you know what I mean? Yeah. This one doesn't. So I do it myself. But yeah, you literally just put it through a cheesecloth and then like squeeze it, and then you can either like discard the leftover almonds. You can make like almond flour with it, or like make like people make a lot of like dishes or like little like desserts and stuff with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like literally all it is. So
I love that.
Yeah, so I do that with the matcha.
Okay.
And then I do Paleo Valley. It has a certain protein powder. It's a bone broth protein powder, which bone broth is also
interesting.
Yeah, but it's like not. It sounds gross, but it's not.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it's not. But it's
I just didn't know those were a thing.
Yeah, but it's like fantastic, because I don't know if you've ever like, most protein powders, if you put it in stuff, it makes it like all like thick and like
a little chalky.
Yeah. This one's like not like that at all. Like you can even tell by like the powder itself. Like it just, the texture, like the look, everything's so different, but it dissolves beautifully. So you don't have like the thing at the bottom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You drink it and it's like, it's done, instead of like all that like thick, like chunky, So I do 2 scoops of that. I do 1 scoop of vanilla, 1 scoop of unflavored, just because I don't like things crazy sweet. And then I put like trace minerals, which is really great because a lot of people aren't getting enough of the trace minerals throughout the day. So that's just like an easy way to get those in. But yeah, and like cinnamon usually, because cinnamon's really anti-inflammatory. So I'll do that, or like you can kind of do any variation with it. But that, I feel like that protein powder specifically is like the key, because it blends, like it mixes and dissolves in so well. And like literally that alone with the almond milk, the almond milk, you get like 4 grams of protein or whatever, but with that it's like 34 grams of protein.
Wow.
So it's a really simple way, and like that's what honestly like a lot of my clients, after talking to them, like because they have to go into work and commute and things like that, like that is their new like way of getting it too. And it feels good, because I feel like a lot of times people don't even need coffee, they need something to drink, and in their hand
1,000%, they need the ritual.
Yes, so it's like a really good way to get that in still.
And this is all iced, right? You don't do this hot, or do you do it hot?
I do this one hot. Yeah. I do it hot, and then you can do it cold too. Like sometimes when I want more protein, or if I'm like, when I was working my gut more, I would add in grass-fed beef gelatin.
Okay.
Which that's like what you can make like gummies out of.
Yeah.
But that's again really good for sealing your gut lining, and it gives extra protein in there. So it's like 12 grams for 1 tablespoon.
Wow.
So that's another really good one. So you can't do that cold though, because it like congeals and gets gummy. But yeah, I'll do it hot or ice, like
Wow.
It's fantastic.
Wait,
Yeah.
you're changing my life.
No, you really need to do it and tell me how you like it.
I
because
will.
it's like, it honestly is the best. Like a lot of people I haven't even like told them to do it, like
Mhm.
clients and stuff, but they've seen like my TikToks or Instagram, like, oh my God, I love that matcha now. I'm like, oh,
No,
it's
I found.
amazing.
And what did you post the other day? You were working on a new flavor.
Oh yeah, almond butter matcha.
How was it?
I don't think I did it great.
Okay.
I don't know if I did it the best. So I'm on this like
Did you make the almond butter?
No, I
Okay.
didn't.
Okay.
But there's like, I feel like that's the thing is like for all the things that people like miss, there's always like another like healthier version. Might be more expensive, but like if you ever want to try, if you like love peanut butter and like don't, cause I like one of my issues was peanuts.
So sad.
I know, but it was okay because like I have almonds still. But like
Period.
Barney's, it's called Barney's. It's like extra smooth. It's like
Okay.
literally like peanut butter consistency, which you can never find with almond
No,
butter.
You can't.
But Barney's you can. So there
Okay,
is like
there we
versions
go.
out there. Yeah. But I'm on a new like matcha kick of like, I think I'm making my next like series or like project is like different
Yeah.
flavors. I feel like I need to spice it up a little bit.
1,000%.
So I think I'm gonna make like a blueberry syrup next week and
That
try like a
sounds
little blueberry
amazing.
matcha. I do like a good like honey lavender one.
You'll post a recipe?
Yes, I will.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect. You
I
guys
will.
all have to. What's your TikTok and Instagram for people to follow you?
I should make them the same actually. That's not good.
It's okay.
My TikTok is live.more, MORR, and then my Instagram is live.more.health.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're actually changing my life,
I
and I
love
feel like
this.
you're changing a lot of the listeners'
I
lives
hope
too.
so.
So to kind of round out this episode, what are some tips that you can give to the girls listening of what they can do today if they feel like they have maybe the symptoms that we were talking about earlier in the show, they want to feel better overall? Like, what are some little takeaways that they can do today?
Yeah, I mean, I like honestly a lot of the things that I focus on with people with their protocols, like so basically after someone works with me and we do their labs, they get a custom protocol. So like basically a roadmap for the next like 4 months of what to focus on. And if you don't want to get the labs or you don't have the money for that right now, like one of the things you can do is cut out some of these inflammatory foods that could be a trigger for you. So the biggest ones that you can do is gluten and dairy, which there's so many recipes out there, and like we're luckily in a world now where gluten is like, or gluten-free options are way more accessible now, and there's way more recipes out there and everything like that. So that would be suggestion number one. If you want to go like even further, you can look into something more of like a Whole30 diet or like a paleo diet where you're really cutting out a lot more of the inflammatory foods. Stress management is definitely one. So I would say if you don't have, a meditation practice or a journaling practice or like a deep breathing practice, figure out what feels right for you. Like I know meditation is not for everyone and not everyone feels connected to it and can get into it, but if you can find like tapping works best for you and just like trying to, do tapping every once in a while when you're feeling yourself getting more stressed out or, deep breathing or things like that, I think really focusing on stress management has way more of an impact than anyone likes to really like think about on your body.
Yeah.
And then I think, figuring out like what feels best for you. I think so many times we get so wrapped up into what someone else is saying, like, what will help heal them or, what social media is saying or whatever it might be. But if you're exhausted that day, like don't go to the gym or don't do that workout class. Like really, I feel like the biggest thing, and I feel like I've gotten so, in tune with my body, is to get in tune with your own body and figure out what it's asking for and respect that instead of just trying to push it to get whatever outcome you think you want to get. Like I think just listen to yourself. And then supplements are always just like a great one. I feel like so many people are so depleted in different supplements. So if we were going to go through like some basic ones, I think people, could benefit from, magnesium is always fantastic. So much of the population is deficient in magnesium. There's a couple different versions that you can get, but I mean, like a lot of people deal with constipation and like that's another one that they think is normal. So if like that's something you deal with, magnesium citrate, or, if you're dealing with stress, and like a lot of us do, which is where magnesium glycinate would come in. That's a really great one for stress reduction, sleeping. So that's another great one. But I think just, listening to your body, I think cutting out some of those foods. And if you do, feel inclined to and have the resources and feel like you have the time and energy to, I would really suggest looking into getting testing done. I think there's such power in the knowledge around your own body. We're all so different and our bodies work in such different ways that it's never going to be a one size solution fits all. It's never going to be what worked for you is not going to work for me. So I think it's really important to have a baseline understanding. And eventually I want this to be something that, every year, like you can get this test done for yourself and
Yeah.
understand like where your gut levels are, where your hormones are, like your blood work, you know? So I think if you start to see some symptoms last for longer and, you know, start to be more what we call chronic, where they're lasting, you know, a year plus, or you're just consistently feeling this, I think it's worth it to look more into lab testing and to understand what's going on, you know, behind the hood so you can catch it before it turns into something, you know, deeper.
And do you take clients virtually?
I do. That's pretty much how I take all my clients.
Okay,
yeah.
perfect. So like anyone listening can get in touch with you.
Yeah, anyone listening, my website is www.livemorehealth.com. It's LIVMOR. It's like a little play on my name.
No, I love that. I'll also link it below.
Yeah. So if you want to look, you can always look at different stuff. I do the different packages that I have with lab testing that I have built out. I always do custom lab testing too. Like if you have certain issues, I don't take anyone on as a client before I meet with them in person or meet with them virtually.
Yeah.
I want you guys to understand and like feel comfortable with me, and I want to understand what you're going through so I can best, you know, guide you. And even if you just wanted to do like, you know, talk sessions and have someone to talk through different, you know, kind of like we did today, just but like more specific to yourself and your life without the lab testing, I also offer just integrative health coaching where we can do that virtually as well.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Liv, thank you.
Thank you. It's so fun.
This is so fun, right? You could do it forever.
I really could.
No, it's so fun. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
You've been so helpful. My life has
hope so.
actually changed. And I guess if that's all, that's it.
That's all.
Bye, guys.
Bye.